Hello, lovies. I was guided to pull some cards. I don't know who out there needs this, but I felt this nudge. I was walking by my table of cards and I heard a voice, which is just my thoughts, that was like, go pull some cards in your cute little new space. I redecorated so it feels nice and warm and cozy, and it's freaking bonkers cold out today. I went for my morning drive and I don't have heat on the left side of my Jeep. The driver's side, there's no heat. And I'm really frustrated. So I feel like the universe is telling me to stop driving. It's like, well, if you're not going to stop, we're going to make it cold so you can't do it. So now I have to go get that fixed. I'm sure it's just like there's probably something clogged and the heat's not getting through. But yeah, didn't work out today. Just been inside, cozy. I hope you're all doing well. Let's see what messages we're going to get. I'm using my Angels Abundance deck. Nothing's popping out. As soon as I said that, it says deservingness. You are a beloved child of God like everyone else, and you deserve to receive the support that will allow you to focus upon your divine life purpose. Even if you can't recognize your lovable qualities just yet, trust that God and the angels can see how amazing you truly are. You're being guided to nip the self-hate in the bud. No more. You are worthy. All right, let's do another one. Five of Wands. We got this the other day. This is all about like the game of life and trying to reach another level. And sometimes you have to fall down. And I'm sensing that even the world is in this energy, especially with that volcano that erupted and everything that's going on with, tons of people getting the vid recently. I just feel like we're going through a valley phase. And it's so that we can do our healing. So if you're feeling super emotional lately, if you're feeling like your ego is really, really loud and it's telling you you're not good enough, nothing's ever going to work out, it just feels like everything's really hard, that's a time of healing. And I know for me on my path, anytime that inner voice gets really, really loud, I know that that's me needing to slow down, to become aware of the voice, and to shut it off and say, no, like life always works out for me. Everything's always fine. I'm meant to be having these thoughts right now so that I can become aware of them, so I can heal them and no longer listen to them. When you're on an awakening journey, the main mission is to see the ego. And the ego is not what most humans think it is. It's not this egotistical, like, I'm amazing. No, the ego is just your mind. And when we start to get the helicopter view and we start to see our thoughts clear, that's the mission, is to catch it in each moment. Like say you're about to go on a job interview and you're on the drive and you catch your ego telling you that you're not wearing the right outfit, or you're not prepared enough, or you're not going to answer all the questions well. You have to throw a stick in that wheel right at that moment and say, no, that's my ego talking to me. I'm not going to listen to that. And I just heard a voice say that this happens in relationships too. So I did a reading the other night with a woman who's in a new relationship, and it happened really quickly and she wasn't expecting it. And it's really awesome. It's like it happened overnight. They met and it was just like, holy cow, we're going to get married and live our lives together. It's like they both just know. And then they had been in each other's lives before, but it was like a light switch went on and God was like, okay, it's time for you two to get together. And her ego is wrecking her and not allowing her to enjoy this good feeling. And it's telling her to slow down. It's telling her to pull back from him. And I'm trying to coach her and say, no, you follow your heart. You do what your body's telling you to do. If there's a green light, then go for it. And then also like be mindful that that inner voice can sometimes trick you into thinking that like, you have to go full speed, super, super fast, or you're going to lose it. And that's another way we have to hit the brakes and say, no, like just be calm, but take action in the right way. And it's because you're deserving of it. you're being called to receive it. It's time to start stepping into that feminine energy and start like open up your arms and saying, I'm worthy of this. I'm going to allow it in, and I am not going to let the game of life trick me into thinking that I'm not worthy of it and that it's going to fall down and it's going to break and everything's going to fall apart and it's going to set me back. So speaking of that, I have my relationship oracle deck here. Let's see, for people in partnerships, let's see what your partner wants to say to you. We'll see, what does the divine masculine want to tell his divine feminine? People that are in partnership. It was my fault, but I blamed you. And this could even be somebody in separation, because maybe they're separated now and he's having regret. Because sometimes it takes, all right, divine feminines, listen up. Sometimes it takes space for the masculine to really absorb a situation. When they're in it, sometimes they don't see so clearly. They need time to process. We are intuitive. We are feelers. It's like we know things instantly, and we want them to be on that same page as us, but they can't. They're just not. They need a little bit more time. I always tell women the 3-day rule is great too when you're first starting to date somebody, or even if you're just with a guy. And this is kind of off topic, but I felt called to share that in order to let a man process, we have to give them time and space. So anytime I'm dating a guy, I always use the 3-day rule. I always allow them 3 days. Like I feel like it's like disrespect after 3 days. So if we're texting and we spend we spend like 2 days together, like a Saturday and Sunday, we spend all together. And then Monday comes around, and I'm not the type that like, I don't like to get in the routine of being like, good morning, good night, good morning, good night. Like that just gets, then you feel like you have to do it. So I don't like that kind of stuff, but that's just me personally. So then Monday morning, like we didn't message each other. And then it was kind of like crickets all day Monday. And I was kind of like, all right, I have faith in myself. I know I had fun this weekend, so I'm just going to let it ride. And I tell myself, okay, 3 days. If he doesn't message me in 3 days, then we got a problem. And they always message before the 3 days. And if it's not a healthy relationship, then it's probably somebody who's not messaging in 3 days, thinking that they can just message me whenever they want. Like, meaning they could let a whole week go by and like, oh, I can still call Michelle. No, sorry, that boundary has been set. You cannot. And ladies, I do not tell my men the 3-day rule. This is just something I'm sharing with you, but we just allow them space, because guess what happens in that 24, 48, whatever, 72 hours? They have time to think, and they have time to experience something and be like, oh, I wish I could tell Michelle this, or, oh, I wish I could tell so-and-so this, and they want to share it with you. But if you're always with them and you're always texting them and you're always in their face, they're not really going to know their true feelings for you. So we have to give them time. They need time to miss you. They need time to yearn for you, to crave you, to lay in bed thinking about you. But if you're jumping through their phone every 5 seconds, it's not really, there's no space. So I'm a huge, huge believer in space. I even said to a friend who was here the other day, he was in here and we were talking just about relationships and like sleeping situations. And I was like, whoever I marry, they're going to have to understand that I'm going to spend like 3 nights a week alone in my bed or on the couch because I need space. I know that's healthy for me because I don't want to get too immersed in somebody else, because I start to lose myself when I start spending so much time with somebody. And I know somebody out there right now listening right now is like, yes, that's me. That's me. It's like we immediately go into how can I live their life, or how can I revolve my life around them? And we start to lose our own mission and our purpose and our path. So the trick to fixing that is space. But people that have abandonment struggles and you fear losing things and people, you're terrified to let go for those 3 days. Because you're like, what if he doesn't message me? Well, guess what? That's your clear answer, that you can be like, peace, bye. I can go find somebody that can't wait to message me. And most guys, just to give you guys feedback, most guys message me within the first 24 hours because we're in that connected space and we yearn for each other. And even if it's just a heart emoji or something, they're always wanting to know that I'm safe and that I feel loved, and they just always want to make sure that they're taking care of me, which is how it should be. Ooh, power's starting to flicker, and spirit's saying hi, because it's not even snowing here yet or anything. So yeah, great advice. I'm so glad that that just came through. Let's do another card. The lights got me sidetracked and I totally lost my train of thought. Yeah, so the 3-day rule. I know I messed up everything. Oh, I want to hug whoever's saying that. You didn't mess anything up. You're doing the best that you can. And ladies, this is how we need to internally speak about whoever we're thinking about or whoever we're with. Always find compassion. They're doing the best they can. And we have to be their guide. We have to be holding space for them to figure it out. That's one of the most beautiful parts about life, is not rushing somebody else to learn a lesson, or not rushing somebody to figure something out. And I struggle with that. I'm always like, I want people to like be their best, and I want to like help them, but I also like totally, I don't step in, I just witness it, but I get really excited internally and I don't tell them, and I'm like, oh yay, they're making progress, I can see it. And I want to like talk about it all the time, but sometimes I have to like pull back and not speak and just let them express when they're ready, and not constantly poke with questions. And I just got guided to say that somebody out there, if you're dating somebody new, I think one of the first readings or morning messages I ever did was, we were talking about what's missing. So if you're dating somebody and you're asking yourself, okay, what's missing? Like, what is everything clicking into place? Am I feeling like left out in any kind of way? And always reflect on, is he asking you questions about you and your life? That's a huge red flag. Because if he's not, then he's just there to take from you. If he's not asking you questions, he is literally only thinking about him sharing about himself. And he's in this, like, he's wounded. He's a wounded masculine who maybe might have issues with his mom from growing up, and he never felt heard. He never felt seen. So he's not capable. It's not a bad thing. It's just where he is. So it's like he's got blinders on, and he's so wrapped up in the pattern of, I need to be seen, I need to be heard, nobody ever listens to me, that when he attracts a woman who does listen, he's just so happy in there that sometimes he doesn't even think about her and her safety and her feelings, and that he needs to leave the relationship. So he has to do that kind of healing on his own. So that, for me, that would be a red flag. I probably wouldn't date somebody or continue to date somebody who isn't capable of asking questions, because he just doesn't have the space in him yet, because he's still needing to feel heard. And until he's fully heard by himself, when he fully loves himself, then he will open up space in his body to ask questions and to create and to think of ways to surprise you and do things for you. But when somebody is wounded, and I say wounded, and it's not a negative way, it's just trauma. It's just what we've been through. And when we hold a lot of trauma in our body, and I'm an example of this, I held so much trauma in my body that I just couldn't stand to not correct people when they were wrong. If somebody were to say something, I'd quickly correct them if they said something wrong. Or if someone was talking about the weather and they said it was going to be like 40 degrees, I'd be like, no, it said 37 degrees. Like, I was so like needing to be right. It was just my inner child that was never heard, and nobody paid attention to me growing up, and everyone shooed me away. And I was told I wasn't smart. So my whole like late teens, early 20s, adult life, I was always trying to prove that I was right. And it was by correcting people and just, being combative in that way, which if you know me now, you'd be like, yeah, right, Michelle, you were never like that. And I was like, yeah. We all grow out of whatever old skin that we were in. I always see it as like a snake skin shedding a layer. I've shed like probably 15 layers. Speaking of that, maybe I'll go into my phone was plugged in. Maybe I'll go into my toxic patterns real fast and share a couple of them before I let you guys go. I just heard 3. All right, I'm going to share 3. here we go. And this is, I don't know if you can see, a little screenshot. Okay. The first one that came up was number 6. I'm going to turn the brightness down. Number 6 is crave attention from men. So that was a huge toxic pattern for me. So ladies, if you're listening, and hopefully any guys on here swipe out. So ladies, when we are looking for attention from men, we have to sit and ask ourselves, why am I looking for this right now? Because I've healed this in myself and I want to help you heal it. So you have to ask yourself, why am I, like, I'm sitting at a bar, I'm sitting at a restaurant, and a couple guys walk by. Why do I need them to look at me? Like, ask yourself that. What does that do for you? What I found for me is it fills a bottomless pit. It's just, you're always looking for the next look, right? And it's like, well, why am I looking to be seen? Oh, it's because I never felt seen growing up and I didn't feel loved. So I'm constantly yearning for that masculine love because maybe I didn't get it from my dad, or maybe I didn't get it from my brother or from any man in my life. And I'm not speaking on my behalf because I did get love, but it just wasn't as expressive as I wanted it to be, which I didn't know back then. So I have a tendency to attract men that don't express themselves, and I don't want to do that. I want a man who can talk. I want a man who will take the lead. I want a man who will text me and say, I would like to take you out on Friday night. How does that sound to you? Instead of, hey, what do you got going on this weekend? I'd rather a man just be decisive and just say, I want to do this. It's like, I want you. Are you here for it? Let's do it. So you have to ask yourself, when you're craving attention from men, why are you doing it? What is it fulfilling inside of you? Is it even fulfilling anything, or is it a bottomless pit? Because once you start loving yourself, you start to go places and all of those people become blurred. It's like, it's almost like you see them, but you don't see them. And you're just like, I don't need anyone to look at me now because I look at myself in the mirror before I go out and I really like her. And she's really cute. And she doesn't really need to share herself with anybody else. She can just be on her own in a restaurant, not even speak, and feel amazing because she's so proud of how far she's come and who she is and how much she loves herself and all the work that she's done. It's almost like a look from a guy. It's like, that's not even, it doesn't feel half as good as it does looking at the mirror at myself and being like, yeah, Michelle, fuck yeah, like you've done so much, you know? And if you're on this channel, you know what I'm talking about with like the self-growth. Sorry, I'm trying to duck down so there's no glare in my glasses. So basically, when you stop craving that attention, your life becomes really like wholesome, and you become humble and you become less needy and grounded, and you're in your queendom, and you just feel like you don't need anything from anybody because you get it all right here. And it takes practice, and it might take a couple like healing sessions, Reiki. I do best treatments. So I hope that helps. I hope I kind of explained that well. Sometimes I have thoughts in my head that make sense and I don't say it out loud, and people are like, Michelle, can you elaborate? That doesn't make sense. And nobody's here to tell me to elaborate. So I'm sorry if it's not making sense. Okay. Ooh. Number 11, hide my feelings or keep my thoughts to myself. I'm usually very overly expressive. But there was a phase in my life where I hid how I was feeling in partnerships. Like if something really bothered me, I wanted to be the best girlfriend. Like I wanted to be seen as awesome. And I'd be like, no, that's fine. You can go out with your friends. You can do this, you can do that. And then I'd be at home and be panicked and be a mess. And it was all an insecurity because I didn't like who I was. And I didn't trust that that person liked me. So then I felt like if they were going to go out, then they were going to find somebody better than me. And it took me like a good, like maybe like 10 healing sessions. I'm just guessing on how long it took me to heal that, because that again, you have to come from like this grounded space of, I love my partner and I want them to experience their life to the fullest. And if going places and doing things or whatever it is brings them joy, then I'm going to be getting my foot and kicking them out the door to go do it, because I want them to live their best life. Because I always think about how I would want them to treat me. Like if I wanted to go on a vacation but alone for 3 days somewhere, I would want my husband to be like buying the ticket and booking it for me. Like say I mention it one night at dinner on a Thursday, and then by Sunday he's like, hey babe, I found flights for you. Let's do it. I want you to go, because he wants me to go feel good. So when we can get to that space of, I want another human being to feel good, we can step out of our own pain and we can see it differently. And we can see that, I'm not going to fear him leaving me. Like my husband could fear me going on a trip and meeting somebody in an airport or meeting somebody at the hotel that I'm staying at. But we are so grounded in that love. And I say it like it's already here. But we're so like grounded in the way we look at each other in our eyes that we just know that that just wouldn't happen. And I think sometimes people are in partnerships because they don't fully love themselves and they're just looking to lean on somebody else and to get that attention from somebody else, that of course they're not going to trust that person because they don't trust themselves. They don't trust the partnership. So, but then again, I was just going to say, like, don't go into those relationships if you don't fully love yourself. But I also believe that we need people to teach us. So we have to be in partnerships in order to kind of learn these things. So yeah, hiding your feelings. Don't like always express yourself. Say like, ask your partner if you're triggered and you're saying like, yeah, like, I don't know why, but I feel like this is triggering me right now. And I want you to have fun, but for some reason, this is maybe we can talk about this later. There's something coming up in me. And then hopefully that partner will say, yeah, like I would love to sit down and like go dive deeper. I would love to hold space for you to figure out why this might be triggering you. Cause he's going to say like, I love you. You've got nothing to worry about. But him holding space for you saying, yeah, let's dive deep and let's let you figure it out, not him figure it out for you. So that was a huge pattern of mine that I had to release. Okay, let's do one more. And honestly, you guys, all of these patterns, they all result in self-love. You heal because either you're shifting your perspective or you're learning to love yourself so much that you feel so confident that you're not scared of losing anybody because you know someone better would show up. And if somebody's leaving, then that means they're not seeing your worth or they're not your match. And you can be okay with that because there's billions of people in the world. There'll be another one. 29. Share information with people with whom I question their loyalty. This was a huge one for me. So I so desperately wanted to be seen and heard. And I wanted to see that like I was smart and that people liked me. And I just was everywhere I went, I was looking for at least one compliment from somebody subconsciously. I wasn't conscious of this. I can now look back and see the robot Michelle going through life being like, where can I get love? Where can I get love? And I would wear like cute outfits trying to show off my butt or doing whatever. And now it's just, I dress my body because I like the way it looks and it feels and textures and all that stuff. So sharing information, sometimes we overshare because we want to be loved. We are so quick to share somebody else's secret so that people can be like, oh, wow, Michelle told me that first. Or it's just all about being seen in a certain light. When we are the first to know something or the first to share something, it's like people in society value that for some reason. And in all honesty, I value the silence more. I really value somebody that can hold a conversation and wait to respond and wait to speak, and who's just not so impulsive with sharing information, because guess what that's showing you? That's showing you that they're not going to be so quick to share whatever you talked about with them with other people, because they're holding their lip and they're limiting when they speak. It's not a secretive thing. It's not a deception. It's actually like self-discipline. So when you are sharing information and you're not really knowing who your audience is, you're not questioning like, would I trade lives with them? Do I trust them? And when I say, do I trade lives with them? I don't take information from people I wouldn't trade lives with. Because if they're not honorable, if they're not respecting themselves, if they don't have a self-care routine, then why would I see them as wobbly, like they're not very grounded. Why would I take advice from them if they're in a wobbly state? Because how would they know that information? I don't really trust people that just might have heard something in a book and then they just share it with you. I'd rather trust somebody that's living it and they're integrating it and they're embodying that information. So I always ask myself, am I going to take information from somebody who I would trade lives with, and making sure that you know the audience who you're sharing, like, can you trust them? Are they going to go, how often do they share information with you? Because if they're sharing a lot of information with you, then that means they're not biting their lip with your information when they leave you. They're going to go share your secrets. So the toxic pattern for this one, I was always just sharing. I didn't care who it was. I didn't care what secret I was sharing. I was so loose-lipped. Yeah, I just was that girl. And it wasn't about gossip. It was just, I just wanted to be seen and I just wanted to be heard. So I just said anything. And then I really started, my mentor, Anna, taught me to be quiet. And I just started to listen and I started to keep good news to myself. Like when I get good news about something, I don't tell anybody for at least 30 minutes. That's my rule. I sit with it because I'm worthy of receiving that. So when you get good news and the deservingness card, I don't even know if you guys could see that. Yeah. When you get good news, it's like a ball of light, right? And you're holding on to it. The minute you text somebody and tell them about it, you're chipping away and giving away your light. So when you get good news, hold on to it. Keep it to yourself for a little bit and just let it just sink into your body and you can just feel it deeper. And then as the 30 minutes go by, you're kind of like, I don't really want to tell anybody. This is just a beautiful relationship with me and my coffee and my house. And I'm just really proud of myself. And this opportunity just arrived. And it's just a really cool to like let things sink in by yourself with yourself. And that's how you learn to love yourself more, is when you give yourself that time and space to be with you and to ask yourself, who is my audience? Do I trust them? Are they worthy? This is a good one. Are they worthy of knowing something about my life? Are they worthy of knowing something about my life? And then you don't have to tell them. You can be selective with what you share. It's not lying. There's been many times where I come from a conversation, I just told one friend, like, everything about my life. And then I go to another friend who I value just as much, and I don't say a word. I won't tell them the good news I just told the other friend, because I just trust myself to know who I can give my energy to. So if you're watching this and you're one of my friends and you know that I always tell you things, and that means I really love you and I really value our friendship. And especially the people I do readings with, I really love connecting with them. And I share with who I think will receive it. And I want you guys all to do that too. Think about who you're sharing information with, and don't be so quick to give your life away to people, because then you're also opening yourself up. It's like, here, you can look at every little piece of me, and I'm just going to like be vulnerable and share everything and open myself up for any kind of energy to comment on my life. And I don't want that. I kind of want to keep my life a little private. So I hope that helped. I have, I think 37. No, I have 40. I have 40 toxic patterns that I grew out of. Lots of good ones. Another one, accept breadcrumbs from an intimate partner. Hell no. I used to do that all the time. I would accept like one-line texts and then them not responding for like I said, the 2 or 3 days. But normally people would always respond quicker, but some guys would not respond. And then they would give me like, oh, so sorry, I was busy. I'm like, what? Looking back, I'm like, why did I even respond to a message like that? Like, we are worthy of so much more. So if you're listening to this right now, you need to book a reading with me if you're dealing with that kind of stuff. You do not tolerate that kind of text messaging at all. Like I said, your man should be saying, if you want to attract this awakened masculine man, he is going to take the lead. He is going to say, I would like to take you out. Are you interested? He's not going to say like, hey, what are you doing? Or let me check my calendar. I'm not sure. He is going to figure the calendar stuff out before he calls you. That's an awakened man. He has a plan. He's decisive. He is grounded. He's ready and in a space to nurture you and to take care of you and to keep you safe. He's not wobbly. So that little wobbly energy would be like, oh, I don't know. Like if you're asking him if he wants to hang out and he's saying, I don't know, red flag for me. I'd rather be dating a guy, and maybe that's why I'm single, because I'm waiting for all these masculines to wake up and to really like fuck up and be like, all right, I got this. And they're just starting to wake up. So we have to give them a little time. But I know there's a match out there for me and there's a match out there for you. We just have to be diligent about who we allow into our lives and who we share information with. And we're not going around craving men just to crave them. No, we get to choose. You get to sit in your queen chair and pretend like one by one they're coming up. And you want to pick the best one. You're not settling for somebody who like kind of steps up to you and then steps back down and then kind of steps up and steps back down. No, you want somebody who's going to pick you up out of that chair, swoop you off your feet, and go and share their life with you in the most amazing way. All right, lovies, we're going to end there. Thank you so much for listening. I don't know why I felt called to do this, but I always follow my nudges. So I hope this helps you. If it resonated with you, comment below, like it to help me get this out there, and subscribe if you haven't already. All right, have a wonderful Sunday night.